As a rule of thumb, homeless camps aren't easily found or easily accessible. It takes work for teams of outreach workers and street doctors to hike into remote areas with medical supplies and food, looking for homeless camps and their occupants. And this is what they're looking for. This camp is still intact, but it's difficult to tell if the residents are coming back, or if they've been forced out in a last-minute sweep and forced to leave everything behind, a common practice when law enforcement sweeps through camps. After checking out the camp and looking for signs of current residents, the outreach team moves on. Soon, they come across the residents of other camps. After talking and discovering their needs, the outreach team moves on again. There's more hiking into remote places, revealing more camps that have been abandoned by their owners.
Is when they ran these guys out and they still haven't came back and picked it up.
Yeah, because this was that young girl that needed to go to the hospital for her eye.
Yeah.
And then they chased them out.
Yeah.
On this spot, someone's life was upended and treated like garbage to be disposed of without regard to their physical or mental health by those who forced her to move on with nowhere to go. I'd like to think that we're a better community than that, or at least we're supposed to be. Welcome to Broken Shalom, not the way things ought to be. The outreach team moves on toward what will turn out to be the last camp on today's outreach. To reach this last camp takes a bit more hiking into a remote area. What we eventually found took me a little by surprise, because it looked and felt more like a home. The title of the book on the table tells an important part of the story of those who call this camp home. Imagine being homeless, camping, trying to avoid police sweeps and to get your life back, while figuring out how to master your fears. It's time for us as a community to address a simple but profound question. What do we as a community need to do to bring genuine shalom to the residents of this camp and to many more camps spread across our community? The Spokane Police Department makes regular sweeps of homeless camps, such as this one. This is what's left following one of those sweeps.
We're at a previous camp right now that by some of the clothes left behind, it's obvious that at least one woman was here. And it's camps like these, out of the way from everybody else, out of the way of the city and stuff, that the homeless females actually feel safe out here, because they know they're away from the downtown, they're away from that kind of environment, they're away from all the houses to where there's not going to be a lot of drama and stuff. But this is the aftermath when the police find them. This camp was standing 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't this bad. All this stuff wasn't like this. This is what happens when the camp gets raided. The police don't give them enough time to grab their stuff. They don't let them take their tents, because then they're going to put their tents up again somewhere else. But they let them take what they have, what they can carry right away without going to jail. This mess isn't left by the homeless people. This mess is left by the city that refuses to come in and clean up what they just created by moving these people.
It's hard not to be struck by the irony of a homeless camp and people having to live in these conditions in the shadow of one of the most affluent neighborhoods in our community. A metaphor for the broken shalom that can never be fixed or restored by asking the police department to chase them away so that we don't have to look at them.
Yeah, I mean, we're just all one disaster, one catastrophe of being in this situation, homeless. My house burnt down, no insurance. I have no family here, nobody here, and I trust nobody. So, that's why I'm in this situation. But in about 3 weeks, though, I'm headed out. I'm headed to Oregon. My buddy's coming. He's coming back. And I gotta go. This is not me. People stereotype us because we got a backpack on that that we're thieves or druggies. I smoke a lot of pot, and I have to deal with some situations out here. But we're not all bad people just because we're in this situation.
I wish Matthew's story had ended here, but later this day the outreach team from Jules Helping Hands found Matthew collapsed and exhausted at the top of Pettit Drive. Paramedics were called. The strain of hauling his belongings up the hill had been too much. Matthew had ruptured a hernia and had to be rushed to the hospital for emergency hernia surgery. After our encounter with Matthew, our search for homeless camps took us a bit off the beaten path.
This trail right here, it's off the beaten path. This isn't where the Society of Spokane, the majority of the people that want to come down and enjoy the river, go. The Centennial Trail is above us about 200 yards. This path is not where it's not accessible per se to the average person that wants to come down and spend the day at the beach or along the river. So these people down here are away from everybody and not bothering people. These people, they have a right to live.
As we move further off the beaten path, we see more evidence of homeless camps abandoned by people forced by law enforcement to move on. Some images stick with you, like the one that forces you to ask if we as a community want people to live in caves rather than in shelters or in homes.
So this setup right here, this tent site here about 3 weeks ago, they were camping about 2 miles, maybe a mile and a half upriver on the opposite side, and they got ran out. You can see, it's been 2 weeks since I've been here, but you can see they keep it in order, they keep it clean. There's no drug paraphernalia, there's no liquor bottles. These are just people trying to live that got chased off from down there a couple weeks ago. They actually floated their camp and all their belongings downriver to this spot. They just fell on hard times. They both have amazing stories. One's from Montana, one's from Wenatchee, It's been a hard year. One of them is their first time being homeless. But they still have that, they have integrity. They want to be down here where they can live, where they can enjoy the nature, where they can enjoy the peacefulness of it. And even if they didn't want to, they still don't have an option. They don't have an option. There's no beds. There's no shelter space. You know, so this is the next best thing. Come down, keep your camp clean, keep your smoke down, so you're not seen and exposed, and you get to live.
I've been here since November, got a DWI, hit and run, and lost my business, my vehicle, my house. So here I am, right as the coronavirus thing hit. So, before I was general contractor, just moved back over to Tacoma for a while with my dad to start another business, and was doing pretty good. Decided to come over here one night, and after 20 years of not drinking, got drunk as hell and wound up getting a little fender bender while I was drunk. So no one was hurt, but punishment seems to outweigh the crime for me, I think. Yeah, I've lost my license now. I had a clean record all the way up till then. So it was like my first offense, and they just took everything from me, so I don't know how I'm supposed to even get to work now, or how I'm supposed to start another business, or just kind of got screwed by the system. Probably a place for me and my dog to go. I've already had offers to go places, but I have to get rid of the dog, and I ain't getting rid of him. You know, he deserves a good life too. It's cold, wet. Last November I had a little TP. It seemed to work pretty good. This summer I built a little shack. We'll see. I got a little wood stove in it. It should be fine. It's just a trek in and out of town sometimes.
The critical question we as a community need to answer is this: where do we want the homeless to go? None of us want to see homeless camps in public parks or under bridges or in alleys or on sidewalks. And none of us want to see garbage or needles or human waste in our parks. But we can't allow ourselves to fall victim to that secret mental conversation that silently whispers, I don't want to fix the problem, I just don't want to see the problem, so please make it disappear. One of the definitions of shalom is the way things ought to be. Broken shalom is seen in those situations where we would say, that's not the way things ought to be. People experiencing homelessness being forced to camp due to lack of available options, while being harassed and forced to move by the police with no place to go, represents broken shalom, not the way things ought to be. I believe the answer to effectively addressing homelessness in our community lies in us as a community pursuing a solution that mends the broken shalom, that restores our public spaces to the uses they were created for, and that enables the homeless of our community to find a safe place, a safe shelter or housing, where they can safely begin their journey back to stability and to assume their rightful place as valued members of our community.